All right. The big difference here, as far as like you're concerned, you're probably concerned with, you know, what's easier. Synthetic division's much easier, but you can't always use it. Okay. So the catch here is we'll use synthetic division probably preferably, but you can't always use synthetic division. Okay. So with long division here, you have to use certain problems with long division. You have to do it. Now with synthetic division, here's the catch. Okay, the divisor must be linear. Okay, if my divisor is not linear, then I'm going to have to use long division. And it's like, oh, crap. Okay. Now, what do we mean here by linear? Not squared, okay, not cubed. So only an x to the first power. What I like to think of with linear is like slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So my divisor needs to be in that form mx plus b. Okay, where it's only x to the first power and it's not like squared or cubed or fourth. Okay, now your directions, you know, your directions may say long division, it may say synthetic division. Now, preferably, we're going to do synthetic division no matter what our directions say, because we're just going to take the easy way out. But if my divisor is not linear, I'm going to have to go with long division. Okay, so let's look at some here, and let's go over this part I forgot here. The divisor. When I look at division, what are the terms for this? Which one is the divisor, the outside part? Okay, so this is the divisor. It goes out here. This is called, you remember this one? Probably not. Dividend, very good. Okay. I like to call it the dividend. It's kind of hard to say. Can't spell it either. Dividend. Okay, let's do it like that. Dividend. Okay. All right. So this is what we're mainly focused on, is that divisor thing right there. Now, let's look, and let's do an easy one first, okay? Let's look at number 10. All right. Now, you can look at the directions. The directions say to use long division, but I'm not going to make you do that if you can do it by synthetic division. Okay. So truth is, you can use either method. All right. Now, right here, let's look. What's the divisor there? X minus 3. Okay, so is that linear? Yes. So that means we can use synthetic division. Okay, so let's go over how we do synthetic division. So what we start off with is not a x minus 3 here, but we start off with a 0. What's the 0? 3. Okay, so we'll do 3, and then we'll put it in a little symbol like that. Okay, now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to list the coefficients here. Now, the one thing you have to be careful about with division, and this is not only synthetic division, but it's also a long division, is skipping terms. If you skip any terms, you have to fill in 0 placeholders. Okay, now in this case, you're going from x squared to x to the constant. Are you skipping anything? No, you're not skipping any terms. The next one we're going to skip a lot of terms. Okay, so we're going to write the coefficients, which is going to be 3, -2, and 5. Okay, you'll probably remember how to do this, don't you? Okay. All right, so we'll draw a line, and we'll take the first 3 and we'll bring it down. So you always just bring the first one down. Now, I'm going to take this 3 and multiply it by my 0, 3 here. So this 3 times 3 is 9. We're going to write the result right there. And now we're just going to combine. And it's not necessarily add, it's not necessarily subtract, it's just combined. So -2 and 9 would be 7. Okay, now let's just do it again. 3 times 7 is 21. And 5 and 21 would be 26. Now we'll put a little symbol right here to break that one off there. And that's going to symbolize what's maybe significant about 26 right there. It's the remainder. Okay. Now, when you write the answer, because this is not the answer, I have like kids in Algebra 2, they'll do this, and then I'll just mark it wrong. Okay? Because you have to write the answer. The answer is coming from the division. Now, when you do synthetic division, when you do one synthetic division here, you're going to depress this by 1. So it's just going to knock the power down to x to the first. So this 3 would be 3x to the first power, and then plus 7 is now going to be the constant. Now, what about the remainder? Remember what you do with the remainder? You take it, you write it over the divisor. Now, in Algebra 2, that textbook would make you write r and then 26, and I do not go for that at all. Okay, you're supposed to take the remainder and write it over the divisor. Now, since it's a positive 26, I'll say plus, and then we'll say 26 over x minus 3. Okay, that's it. All right, let's do another one here by synthetic division. Let's do number 12. Okay. Now, this one's going to have a lot of missing terms. Okay, you've got x to the 4th minus 81 over x minus 3. Okay, so notice on this one, all right, first off, is my divisor linear? Yes, and when we get yes, we like yes, because we don't have to do long division. Okay, we can do synthetic division. Now, notice though, you're going from x to the 4th all the way down to the constant. So you are missing a lot of terms. You're missing something that's x to the 3rd, x squared, and x. Okay, so for all those missing terms, we have to fill in a 0. Same is true for long division. Okay, now what's my 0 here of my divisor? 3. Okay, 3 again, same thing as what we had last time. Now let's list the coefficients. So what's this coefficient? 1. Yeah. So 1. Now, so for x cubed, we're going to have to put in a 0. So it'll be 0x cubed, 0x squared, 0x, and then finally negative 81. Okay, now let's draw our line. All right, and this is what makes it go really, really fast here. All right, we bring down the 1. Okay, now what do? You multiply. All right, 3 times 1 is 3. 0 and 3 is 3. Let's just keep going. 3 times 3 is 9. 0 and 9 is 9. 3 times 9 is 27. 0 and 27 is 27. 3 times 27 is 81. And that works out pretty nice, doesn't it? Because now our remainder is just 0. Don't have a remainder on this one. Okay, now let's write the answer. So remember, synthetic division always depresses this by a power of 1. So this is going to be what? 1x to the 3rd. Yeah, so this would be x cubed. Now everything else is just going to descend by power. So it would be plus, because that's positive, 3x squared plus 9x plus 27, and I don't have a remainder, so that's it. So if I did have a remainder, like if it was, say, 20, say plus 20 over x minus 3. Okay, that's it. Now, talk to me here. Do we need to look at another example with synthetic? Like these right here? Okay, we're missing terms right there. So you went from x to the 4th to the constant. So you didn't have an x cubed, an x squared, or an x. So anything that we don't have, we have to put in zeros for those placeholders. Okay? Same thing with long division. We'll see some in a minute with long division. Y'all ready to jump to long division now? Okay? Now this is the part that sucks. Okay? Long division takes a lot longer, so synthetic division is preferred, but we can't always use that there. Now let's look at like number 14. Okay, so on 14, all right, what do you notice there about that divisor? It's x squared, which means it's not linear, it's actually quadratic. Okay, so we can't use synthetic division, we got to use long division. Okay, so let's write it in that long division form here. Forgot which one I was on there for a second. All right, so number 14. All right, the divisor goes on the outside, right? So I'm not going to write down the problem. I'm going to go ahead and write it in the division. You got x squared plus x minus 2 divided into x to the 4th. Now let's notice, are we missing any terms here? Am I skipping a term? I'm not, am I? Okay. But same thing applies with synthetic division as long division. If you skip a term, you got to leave in a 0 placeholder. Now, it's just like 3rd grade long division, okay? Like on steroids there. All right, the Algebra 2 version of it. Now, so what we do here is we just divide, we just look at the leading terms here, like x squared and x to the 4th, and we're going to ask, what can I multiply x squared by to get x to the 4th? X squared. Okay, so now let's multiply all of those by x squared there. All right, so now we're going to multiply x squared times x squared, but not only that, we're going to have to multiply x squared by x and by negative 2, so you have to distribute it. So I'm going to say x squared times x squared, it's x to the 4th, and we're going to write it right here. All right, now let's keep multiplying. All right, so what about x squared times x there? X cubed. All right, and x squared times negative 2 would be negative 2x squared. Okay, now when you do long division, what's the operation that you do at this point? You subtract. That's what division is repeated subtraction. So it's not just combine like it is with synthetic division, it's subtraction. So you have to subtract all that. Okay, so this is not x to the 4th and x to the 4th, it's x to the 4th minus x to the 4th, which goes away. Okay, and right here, it's not 2x cubed plus x cubed. It'd be 2x cubed minus x cubed, which would just be x cubed. Multiplying right here. See, x squared times x gives me x cubed. Okay, x squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. So this is really 2x cubed minus x cubed, which is x cubed. 2 minus 1 is 1. Now, so what about here? This would be negative 4x squared plus 2x squared. So what would that be? What's negative 4 plus 2? It's going to be negative 2x squared. Okay, now just think long division back in the 3rd grade. What did you do next? You bring down the next digit, or in this case it'll be the next term, which is the negative 5x. Just bring it down. Okay, so now we just start over. So we said x squared went into x to the 4th, x squared times. Now let's do the same thing here. What can I multiply x squared by to get x cubed? X. Okay, now since it's just a positive x, we'll say plus x. Now we'll multiply that x by this, but we're also multiplying by the other two terms. So x times x squared would be x cubed. All right, x times x would be, positive x squared. And then x times negative 2 would be negative 2x. Okay, now let's take all this and subtract it. So x cubed minus x cubed always goes away in long division there. First term does. Now, let's see if you can think about this. I'm not going to say it. Negative 2x squared and then this. So what would that be? You got to be negative 3x squared. Does that make sense? Is negative 2 minus 1 is really what we're looking at there. Now, this right here, this would be negative 5x plus 2x, which would be negative 3x. And y'all, when it comes to long division, that's where everybody makes their mistakes, is all that's subtracting. Okay? All right, now let's bring down the last one, and we got one more division to do. All right, so what can we multiply by x squared here to get negative 3x squared? Yeah, negative 3. All right, so we'll get negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times x would be negative 3x. And then negative 3 times negative 2 would be positive 6. Okay, now let's take all this and subtract it. So this is really going to be negative 3x squared plus 3x squared. Goes away. Right here, this would be negative 3x plus 3x. And that goes away too. Now this would be negative 6 minus 6, though. So what's that? Yeah, negative 12. Okay, so that one didn't go away. So now we got a remainder. Now, remember what we said about the remainder? You take the remainder, put it over the divisor. All right, now, since it's negative, all right, I'm just going to say up here minus, all right, instead of plus. And then 12, that's that remainder, over the divisor, x squared plus x minus 2. Okay, so show of hands. Who likes synthetic division better? Yeah. Okay. Who would really like long division? I don't know. Okay. All right. But if my divisor is not linear, I got to go with long division. Okay. So it doesn't happen very often in here, but it will happen in later units here where you're not going to be able to use synthetic division on certain problems because your divisor is not going to be linear. So that's why we have to cover the long division and not just use synthetic. All right, you want to look at another, let's do one more long division one at least. Okay, let's look at number 16. Okay, now before I write it down, let me point out there's a lot of missing terms on this one. Okay,